To outsiders, I was a good-for-nothing loafer. To my eldest brother, I was just a child. Even as I slept, I'd huddle on the family's heated bed. Lazy and greedy, I was fired and caused my brother to fall off a cliff. His body was never found. Since that tragedy, his wife and nephews disowned me. For the next 45 years, I lived in guilt and remorse. Finally, straining on the toilet caused a brain hemorrhage, ending my lonely, pathetic life. But when I opened my eyes, I was stunned to find that I had returned to the year I was fired. I was holding a wooden stick, outside in 30-degree weather. My brother Wei Jiangduo and his wife were arguing inside the house. Hearing their familiar voices, my nose stung and I smiled. Great, my sister-in-law doesn't hate me yet. My nephews are healthy. And my brother is still alive. There is still time. Inside the house, Liang Yumei rung a rack. She nagged him anxiously. Didn't you say Xiaolong wasn't coming back? But he is back now. What if we run out of coal? How will we stay warm? In this freezing winter, we can't even dig up willow roots. By the stove, the eldest brother, Wei Jiangduo, sighed heavily. He whispered to soothe his wife. Don't worry about this. I'll find a way, even if I have to borrow from the brigade. Hearing this, Liang Yumei glared. She shot back loudly. Borrow? How will we pay it back? Your whole year's earnings might not even cover it. But in this bitter midwinter cold, we can't let Xiaolong freeze. And why did he suddenly come home out of the blue? Who gets fired from a factory if they're decent? Back then, you spent 50 yuan to get him that job. Can we get that back now? Wei Jiangduo frowned and waved her off, answering firmly. Hearing those words, my heart tightened. In my past life, Wei Jiangduo had to borrow from everyone, spending so much money and pride to get me into the Wucheng food factory. I had to borrow from everyone, spending money and losing face just to get into the Wucheng food factory, to work as a laborer, with a monthly salary of dozens. I used to be the envy of all the young people in the brigade. But now, I've been fired. And I know well that in 2 days, Kate, my lover, Lu Runyan, will come to break up with me. In my past life, losing my job and being dumped was such a heavy blow that I lashed out wildly, which indirectly led to my brother's death. Heaven has shown mercy and granted me a second life. I swear I won't let that tragedy happen again. A vain woman like Lu Runyan. The sooner we break up, the better. Even if she hadn't said it, I would have dumped her myself. Winter in North Border is freezing. Feeling warmth from the old coat, I began planning my next move. While I was lost in thought, suddenly in the yard, footsteps crunched on the snow. Elder brother Wei Jiangduo heard it. Opened the door and saw the thug, Gu Mao, approaching. Jiangduo, I heard Wei Long is back. Where is he? Inside? Why look for him? Wei Jiangduo asked wearily. Before Mao could answer, he rushed into the house, wearing a tattered cotton coat. He saw me standing there. His eyes lit up like he found prey. And he lunged forward. Oh, you really are back. Brother, I'm in a bit of a bind. I need your help. Immediately, I felt disgust and caution. I stepped back and replied coldly. Speak your mind. But I might not help. Mao rubbed his cracked hands and smirked. I have a blind date tomorrow, but I have no money for a gift. Lend me some cash. Memories of my past life returned. Back then, to look generous, I lent him all my money. Then we couldn't afford coal, and brother had to borrow widely. To the team, that debt weighed heavily on my family for 3 years. The debt Gu Mao owed me, until I died in my past life. He hadn't paid back a cent. I have no money, I replied coldly, my sharp gaze stunning Gu Mao. His smile froze, his face full of shock. How can you have no money? You work at the factory earning dozens a month. To say you have nothing left is just a lie. He acted out and tried to reach into my pocket. In a flash, I swung my hand and slapped him hard, knocking his dirty hand away and growled. I said I don't have any. Don't I have expenses too? I live with my brother, relying on them for food. Shouldn't I give them some living money? Besides, if you're in trouble, why not ask your own brother? I'm not your brother. The cold, blunt refusal left Goober Mao frozen. Immediately, his face turned red with humiliation. Pointing at me, he hissed angrily. Fine, don't lend it. Why do you have to be so insulting? Hui Long, I misjudged you. From now on, don't call me your brother anymore. Someone like you getting fired is well deserved. You deserve it. Having said, he spun around, slammed the gate, and stormed off. I smirked, knowing well that by tomorrow, this Goober Mao will spread the news of my firing to the whole village. Lu Runin just heard the news and will surely come find me to break up right now. My brother and his wife witnessed everything. Before, I always followed bad friends, acting like a total loafer. I spent every penny I had. Why was I so decisive today? Liang Yuemei thought to herself. Losing his job changed Xiao Wan's nature. Just then, I entered the house and took off my coat. Seeing them stare in silence, I took 10 yuan from my pocket and gave it to Liang Yuemei. Then said softly, Sister-in-law, I'm home, but we're low on firewood. Take this to buy coal first. I'll get more wood in 2 days. So don't you worry. Hearing this, Wei Jiangguo looked at me with pity. It's 30 degrees below zero. Where will you find wood? Don't say such things. But actually, sister-in-law Liang Yuemei wasn't a petty person, nor did she hate me. Seeing me care for the family, her eyes reddened with relief. She pushed the money back. Keep it. The young man like you needs some savings. I insisted on giving it back, firmly saying, I can't, sister. I can't let the family keep supporting me like this. I used to be foolish and thoughtless, making many mistakes that hurt you both. But I understand now. All those things were wrong. Anyway, there isn't much to do in winter. I'll just dress warmly and go to the mountains. Fearing she would refuse, I turned and hurried to my east room. A moment later, the door creaked open. Little Wei Qian shuffled inside. He wore an old padded coat, wiping his runny nose with his sleeve. He looked up at me with pleading eyes. Uncle, I came to play with you. You're back. Did you bring me a gift? Looking at his cute, dirty face, I suddenly felt a pang of guilt. I had gifts for the adults, but for Wei Huan and Wei Qian, I hadn't bought anything decent. I quickly searched through my pockets and finally pulled out a milk candy. The wrapper was crumpled. Wei Qian's eyes lit up immediately. He took it carefully and asked, gulping, It's edible but not as good as meat. I patted his head and smiled. At the mention of meat, Wei Qian blinked as his stomach growled. He whispered, Uncle, can I really eat this? Uncle, I want meat. All right. I patted my chest. Tomorrow, I'll go ice fishing. We'll have plenty of meat for New Year, I promise. But why? But I want to eat it today. At the door, my niece Wei Huan entered, frowning like an adult to scold him. It's okay if he doesn't eat meat. It's getting dark. Don't bother Uncle. Go get ready for bed. I looked out at the yard. It was dusk, and light snow fell. I smiled and patted their heads. You two wait a moment. I'll catch some sparrows to roast for you. Deal, Wei Qian sniffled, then wiped his nose with a sleeve, jumping up with excitement. Uncle, can we really? Let me go with you. I pretended to think, then nodded. It's very cold outside. Go put on your hat and scarf first. Seeing him go, Wei Huan couldn't help pulling my sleeve. She whispered, Youngest uncle, I want to go too. Go, everyone go, I laughed. So, the three of us got ready. Hearing a long net, we quietly slipped out. It was dusk, and fog was setting in. The perfect time to catch sparrows. I led them to a large haystack. At the village edge, I gestured for them to be silent. Stay close to me. We'll catch them with the net. Help me hold the net's edge. Wei Qiang peered around and whispered. Wei Huan patted his shoulder. SHH, Uncle is concentrating. Actually, I hadn't done this in a long time. But with one glance, old instincts came back. It didn't take long until I spotted a pair of tiny eyes, flashlight glitters in the haystack. Found it, I whispered. I lunged with the net. I slammed it down hard. A sleepy sparrow flapped frantically, trapped in a net. Wei Qiang jumped with joy. Clapping. Deftly, I gave it to him. Hold it tight, Wei Qiang. Don't let it go. We're no roast sparrow tonight. Wei Qiang jumped with joy. Clapping. Deftly, I gave it to him. He nodded seriously. Tiny hands cradling it, he held it like a treasure. I smiled and scanned ahead. In this freezing winter, survival is hard for them. They huddle for warmth. I'm sure there's more than a few. Sure enough, after a bit, I found another target. I gave it to Wei Huan. Then moved to the next pile. I walked ahead, leaving deep footprints. Poked. Siblings followed, stepping in my tracks. I soon found another nest. Now smarter, I didn't rush, but spread the net carefully, hurting them. Soon, we caught so many sparrows that the kids couldn't hold them all. When I caught one, I ruthlessly wrung its neck and threw it onto the white snow. After clearing the area, I gathered them and carried our bounty home. We entered the yard joyfully. Sister-in-law Liang Yume heard us and rushed to open the door. Under the flashlight beam, she gasped to see the kids' pants and shirts with bloodstains. She shouted in panic, "Good heavens, where did you go to get into this state? You're covered in blood. Go inside and change now." Wei Qiang stood his ground, holding up the plump sparrows, grinning from ear to ear. Seeing her get angry, I quickly soothed her. "Don't scold them. You two, go change first, so I can clean them at the well before we roast them." With my past survival skills, plucking, cutting, and prepping the sparrows was easy for me. Soon, Wei Qiang finished changing and ran to the door. He pouted, "Uncle, when can we eat? I'm already drooling." "Just wait a bit." I laughed, seeing him lick his lips in anticipation. But before, a loafer, like me, would never have touched kitchen chores. Seeing the children's smiles now, to ease their burden a bit, makes this effort worthwhile. Soon, on the fireplace, I lit. The chili salted sparrows began to sizzle. The smell of charred, spicy meat filled the small house. Right then, even well-behaved Wei Qiang couldn't help but swallow hard. The siblings' eyes were glued to the meat. Without even blinking, once the meat was ready, I picked the two biggest ones and gave them to Wei Qiang. "Qiang, take these to your parents. Let them eat first." Then I gave one to Wei Qiang. He grabbed it and took a huge bite. The two kids ate hungrily, finishing it all, not a single scrap left. The bird bones were small, so they crunched and swallowed. After eating, Wei Qiang even sucked his fingers clean. Seeing that sight, my heart filled with pity. These children hadn't had a decent meal in so long. Thinking of my old salary, besides buying new clothes, the rest, I spent it all on food. Just for my own cravings. I was such a selfish jerk. When Qian and Quang finished, but their eyes were still longing, making me feel even guiltier. I meant to wash up and sleep, but a bold idea struck me. Since I'm free tonight anyway, the flashlight is ready, why not go for one more round? I quietly headed out, silently putting on a thick coat, wrapped my scarf and snuck out. I took a net with me, and tied a sack to my waist, grabbed the light and strode out to the wild fields. My next targets weren't the village haystacks, but the thick weeds and stubble in the deep valley. Grouse and wild chickens love to nest there. From my hunting experience, these wild chickens are quite silly. Unless cornered, they huddle and sleep soundly at night. They won't even fly away. Plus, it's minus 30 degrees. Flying now would be suicide. The icy wind could freeze them instantly. I turned on the light, dimmed it to the lowest, and bent down to search. Cold air hit me. I couldn't stay out long. Soon after, I noticed by a mound. The snow showed signs of digging, revealing dry grass and rotting stubble beneath. I shone my light forward, my heart pounding. Over 10 fat wild chickens were huddled in a ball. Found them. I quickly killed the light, staring intently at the nest. Holding my breath, I crept forward. I shone the light further ahead. My heart was pounding. Over 10 plump wild chickens, huddled in a dark mass. Less than a meter away, I slowly raised the net, held my breath and struck decisively. The net covered the nest. Less than a meter away, I slowly raised the net, held my breath and struck decisively. The net covered the nest. The largest one was sleepy, pinned before it could react. It struggled, flapping its wings. I lunged, pinning the net's edge, grabbed its wings and bagged it. Heavy, this one is about 2 kilos. I was absolutely overjoyed. The rest jumped around in panic. But it was too cold. They were too lazy to leave, just huddling in the straw. A few stuck in the thick grass were also grabbed and bagged. Less than an hour in the snow. The sack was heavy. Caught 5 wild birds. Exhausted, my legs were numb. I knew I had to get home, soak my feet, or I'll be bedridden tomorrow. Tired, but with a full sack, I walked like a general, returning from a victory. The kids will have a feast tomorrow, I thought, a smile on my lips. Early the next morning, at dawn, the frost was thick. My nephew, Wei Qian, rubbing his frozen hands, pushed the door into my room. He tiptoed to the bed, pleading, "Uncle, I still want meat." Sister Queen told me not to say, but she craves it too. Can we have meat for lunch again? Wei Qian looked up, blinking his hopeful eyes, and asked, "Uncle, more roasted sparrows?" Those were so tasty, but there's so little meat. I'm still hungry for more. Seeing how cute he was, I laughed, ruffled his hair, and said excitedly, "Kid, no more sparrows today. I'll give you pheasant for lunch. But eat your breakfast first." Hearing pheasant, Wei Qian was overjoyed. He ran to the door and shouted out loud, "Sister Queen, Uncle's making pheasant for lunch." Hearing pheasant, Wei Qian was overjoyed. He ran to the door and shouted out loud. His voice rang through the yard. Queen was sweeping snow and didn't hear, but big brother Wei Jianduo, chopping wood, heard everything. He stopped and called out, "Uncle, what pheasant? Where'd you get it?" Xiao Lam. Being exposed, Wei Qian felt a bit wrong. He muttered, "Uncle said we'd have pheasant for lunch." Then both my big brother, Jianduo, and sister-in-law Yuame stopped working. Curiously, they watched me walking out of the room. I scratched my head and chuckled. I went to the fields last night and caught a few. I hid them under the snow in the corner of the yard. I'll prepare them after breakfast. Big brother Jianduo stared, asking in surprise, "You caught that many?" He knew all too well how useless I used to be. I had never lifted a finger for anything before. Now I suddenly seemed like a new person. I felt a bit proud. I held up 5 fingers. Then I led them to the corner to see for themselves. I used a wooden shovel to clear the hard snow. I called out softly, revealing 5 plump, frozen pheasants. They were layered neatly side by side. Lil Wei Qian jumped for joy. He used his fingers to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 in total, that's a lot of meat. Big brother gaped, about to ask how I caught them in such freezing winter weather. Just then, outside, footsteps crunched on the snow by the gate. Crunch. I frowned. I just wanted to quickly hide the pheasants away. but it was already too late. A girl in a floral jacket and a red scarf appeared at the gate. Seeing her gaudy, fake makeup, I just gave her a cold glance. I said nothing, my face cold. Big brother Jiangguo, being an honest man, seeing his brother's girlfriend, he gave a bright smile and said hello. Is that you, Nhuyen? Are you here for too long? Come in, get warm. What Nhuyen didn't see was that all four of us were standing in the yard, seeing the snow on the ground and 5 fat wild chickens. She was stunned and couldn't help but gulp. On her way here, she prepared harsh words to dump me for losing my job, but now she was speechless. Staring at the chickens, her eyes darted around. She thought to herself, I could delay the breakup for a few days and eat some chicken first. Seeing the two meet, my brother didn't want to pry, so he smiled, about to lead the kids inside. But I didn't care who was watching and spoke bluntly. Did Mrs. Hai tell you I was fired from work, so you came to dump me? Is that it? My brother stopped in his tracks. He looked back at me, stunned, then awkwardly at Nhuyen. He didn't expect me to be so blunt in front of everyone. This put her on the spot. Fearing I'd say something too harsh, Wei Jiangyu rushed over to stop me. Cool on, what are you saying? Right then, Lu Runin turned her shame into rage. She tossed her head and snapped back. Fine, break up if you want. You've already been fired. You clearly caused trouble at the factory. When you first pursued me, I thought a city worker had a future. I didn't expect you'd be so dishonorable. I don't want to be dragged down by a loser like you. Actually, she was ranting like that, betting that I would beg her to stay. She even hoped I'd coax her by giving her some wild chickens to please her. But having lived a full life already, I knew her greedy ways all too well. Seeing her pretend to be noble, I knew she wanted to break up, but also craved the chickens. I sneered, don't even dream of it. Since you said it, we're done. I won't bother you, now leave. As soon as I spoke, Lu Ruyan was stunned and completely confused. Her face showed utter shock. But having said those cold words before my brother and the kids, she couldn't take it back, even if she wanted to. She bit her lip in resentment, glancing at the chickens once more. Stomping her feet, she hissed, Fine, then let's break up. You'll never find anyone better than me. With that, she turned and sashayed away. Once she was gone, I brushed my hands as if sweeping away trash, ignoring my brother's utterly stunned look. I urged, Brother, help me bring these wild chickens to the kitchen. They'll freeze solid if we leave them out. And Kaitmei finally snapped out of it. Joyfully, she stepped forward. Oh my, are there really 5 of them? In these times of famine, meat once every 6 months was a rare treat. King Kwok also set aside his brother's matter and joined his wife. With knee-deep snow, they're hard to catch. In our whole team, few families have ever eaten them. I looked at her and suggested, Sister, let's cook 2 for lunch today. Give 2 more to Quain's grandparents. We'll salt the last one to save for later. What do you think? Hearing that, King Kwok and Ngait Mine stared in shock. Before, the selfish Tiu Long kept everything good and delicious for himself. He never thought of giving anything to the Luang family. The sudden change made the couple unable to believe it. After eating corn porridge, I wiped my mouth and said to my brother, Mother, tomorrow I'll borrow the team's carriage to haul some wood. Our coal is running out. Heard this, Wei Jiangguo glared and said sternly, No way, it's freezing and you don't know the way. You're weak, what can you even do? If you get lost and freeze, it will be trouble. I patted his shoulder and explained, I've already thought it all out. I have a colleague from the food factory. He lives right by the mountain. He'll lead me there to cut wood. We'll set out early and try to return the same day. Seeing me speak so clearly, Wei Qiangguo finally gave in. Fine, if you've decided. Then just wait at home. I'll go borrow a horse cart for you. Brother, don't worry about that. I waved him off. I'll prepare some gifts this afternoon. To show my sincerity to Captain Hua. Easier to borrow it then. With that, I went outside to prepare the tools. My sister-in-law, Liang Yumei, watched my firm figure and whispered to her husband, "Look, since yesterday, Xiao Long seems like a new man. I feel that losing his job isn't necessarily bad. At least he's not just thinking of himself, but cares for the kids now, and shares your burden." Wei Qiangguo tapped his forehead. Strange, why didn't I think of going to the mountains before? As for me, to borrow the team's carriage smoothly, I plan to bring fish as a gift. After gathering shovels and nets, I headed south of the village. Approaching the small lake, known as Xiao Hazy, I had suddenly heard heavy footsteps, along with shouting. Turning around, it was Dao Dao Zhuang, the burliest but silliest in town. Wang, wait for me. I heard you're back from the city, so I went to find you. I didn't expect to find you here catching fish. Dao Chuang ran over panting, his breath misting the air. He was the same age as me, but always called me Brother Long. Upon arriving, he eagerly grabbed the tool bag from my hand. Dao Chuang ran over panting, his breath misting the air. "Let me carry it. You're a city man, suited for mental work. This heavy labor isn't for you. Let's split the fish later." With strong Dao Zhuang there, walking on ice felt easier. After picking a flat spot, we both started working. Within 10 minutes, with his strength, Dai Shuang's buddy had dug a small hole. He then swung his pickaxe with a loud clang, widening the hole through the thick ice. I then walked toward the reeds by the lake. I picked up bundles of dry cattails, left behind by others. I went to the cleared ice, took out a lighter and lit them. The fire gradually thinned the ice below, along with his pickaxe work. Within 2 hours, we had opened up 2 large holes. The water. I took the net and called him over. He looked expectant, eagerly following me. We reached the holes we had dug. It was minus 30 degrees. The fresh hole, in just a few minutes, had already frozen over slightly. I clenched my fist and smashed through the thin ice. I looked down. A shadow passed in the freezing water. I slowly lowered the net into the water. A moment later, I felt something struggling in the net. Thrashing wildly, I pulled it up with all my might. Leaning back against the ice, for leverage, I heaved the net up. Inside the net, something was thrashing violently. I yanked it straight back, leaning back on the ice to brace myself. I lifted the net with all my strength. Seeing the catch, Dai Shuang shouted with joy. "We hit the jackpot, Long, a whole net full of fish." I pulled the net onto the ice. One scoop caught 7 or 8 fat carp. They flopped around, must be about 3 or 4 kilos. Seeing my luck, Dao Dai Trang pleaded. "Long, let me try a scoop." "Sure, go ahead. Careful not to slip." I smiled and handed him the net. The fish just thrown on the ice only flopped for a moment, before freezing solid in the cold. I warmed my hands by the burning grass, while keeping an eye on Dai Trang. I feared he'd slip and fall into the hole. That would be fatal. Warmed up, I used grass to make a strainer. Strung by mouth, 10 fish formed a heavy bunch. Suddenly, Dai Trang shouted, quickly lifting the net, tossing the catch onto the ice. He caught 5 or 6 large fish this time. The air was colder than the water, so they soon froze rock hard. I strung the fish and cheered. "Well done, Dai Tran. These striped fish can be sold at the station for at least 2 dong per kilo." Mentioning money, Dai Trang was stunned, his eyes wide. "Can we really sell them for that much?" I replied confidently. "Of course. With Tet coming, everyone wants fresh fish. Wouldn't they pay a higher price?" Dai Shuang rubbed his chin and suggested Brother Long. What if we focus on fishing? Then sell them in town? We'll be rich. I shook my head to stop him. This job is very hard. Working all winter, one slip and the cold ruins you. You could end up crippled. But he patted his chest confidently. I'm not afraid of hard work. I only fear being broke. Seeing the determined and honest look in his eyes, I thought for a bit and said, I have to haul logs tomorrow. After that, we'll talk more. To sell fish at this time, Dai Shuang could only rely on me. Because not every household could afford proper fishing gear. The production team had 50 families. But less than 5 had nets. Are you hauling logs alone? Let me help you out, Dai Shuang said eagerly. Fine, remember to dress warmly. I calculated silently. Tonight, I'll take this fish to Captain Hua's house. Seeing this fish, he wouldn't be so shameless to refuse me the horse cart. My mood brightened at the thought. Dai Shuang was also happy to have work soon. Worked all morning. We caught over 10 kilos of fish. By now, my limbs were frozen. Exhausted, I told Dai Shuang. Dai Shuang, that's enough, let's go eat. But Dai Shuang was eager and didn't want to stop. Brother Long, let's catch a few more loads. Every haul is fish. Maybe we'll catch bigger ones later. Don't be greedy. My threat made Dai Shuang panic, rubbing snow on his ears, muttering. I'm fine, I'm strong as an ox. Warmed up soon. Dai Shuang carried the tank bag. It was heavy, volunteering to lead the way. I followed with the tools. Following his footprints really saved a lot of effort. I knew this was his way of thanking me for leading him. Panting, we reached the Wei house. Wei Jiangguo heard the footsteps and opened up. Seeing us covered in ice and snow, air turned white, he gasped. Quick, get inside. Drop your things. Warm up and change your clothes. The stove was burning hot, with a basin of hot water ready. I felt the water and urged Dai Shuang. Soak your feet in hot water, or they'll be cracked tomorrow. Have lunch with us today. Then take a rest. We'll go out again later. Fish will gather at the air hole. Even more than this morning. Dai Shuang nodded okay. Since I agreed to take him along, he was naturally overjoyed. Nephew Wei Qian came in, wiped his nose, and giggled. Uncle, Mom wants you and Trang to come for dinner. I'm coming now. Entering the kitchen, I smelled delicious meat. On the table in the center was a bowl of potato and chicken stew, steaming hot. Luang Ningdiatmi smiled and said, Ice fishing is tiring, right? The fish you caught are huge and plenty. Quite a lot. Tonight we'll have sour fish soup again. I smiled back. In these hard times, women work the hardest, managing the kitchen and the meals. With chicken stew and fresh carb, it's better than a New Year feast. Eat up, Trang, eat your fill. And we must go back to TUI too. We already cut the ice hole. It was hard to break the thick ice. We can't leave it for the birds. Big brother Keen Kwok put meat in his bowl and asked, isn't that enough fish to eat? The ice hole we cut was half a meter deep. There are lots of fish down there. Why go again this afternoon? Just wait a while. The fish needing air will crowd around the hole. If we go this afternoon, we might get an even bigger catch. I explained excitedly. Impressed, V. Keen Kwok slapped the table. And I'm going with you. Let's catch more fish, freeze it in a jar to save for later. It'll stay good until New Year. Soon, the large chicken and potato stew was nearly gone. Seeing the men eating heartily, sister-in-law Yuma hurried. I need more dough. She added wide noodles to the broth. The chicken was boiling. I was so full I was burping. I unbuttoned my coat, not wanting another bite. I gave her a thumbs up, praising her cooking. Back on the mountain, I'll try to catch more wild chicken to bring back for you to cook. Wild chicken is about luck, but we'll surely catch plenty of fish this afternoon. I added with a smile. After eating, I stood up to help Lian Yuame clear the dishes. Seeing that rare sight, Yuame saw even more clearly her brother-in-law had truly changed. He used to look down on those small kitchen chores, never wanting to help out. A moment later, the three of us, bundled in coats, carried our gear toward the lake. Dao Dao Zhuang volunteered again, leading the way. The morning snow was knee-deep, now trodden into a narrow path. Walking was much easier now. 20 minutes later, we arrive. Sure enough, the water in the ice hole had a thin layer of ice. Dao Dao Zhuang used a shovel to pound the ice, to break the ice, scoop out the ice fragments, then start netting the fish. I didn't just stand idle. I gathered dry grass on the ice, and lit a fire to keep warm. Dai Shuang's first net pull caught 3 or 4 big fish. They were carp and grass carp, each one splashing around, over a kilo each. Brother Qiangyuo was through, rushing to put them in a bag. While picking them up, he glanced at Dai Shuang. His hands were itching, clearly impatient. He wanted to take the net. But on the second net, a black, hairy lump and some fish were tossed onto the ice. The black lump squirmed, making Jiangguo shout out in terror. Hi, Zhao Long, what is that hideous black thing? I glanced over. Heart racing, I shouted. Brother, don't let it escape. It's a muskrat. Kill it with the shovel. This thing is worth a lot. Jiangguo didn't know what it was, but farming all year round made him react quickly. He grabbed the iron shovel, swinging it down hard on the animal, crawling slowly away, pinning it to the ice. It crawls slowly on land, but its teeth are sharp. It wouldn't go down without a fight. Pinned down, it whipped its head and bit, gnawing a hole in the sack's edge. Fearing it might escape, Jiangguo swung his shovel twice, killing the aggressive creature. Then he nudged the body with his shovel and turned to look at me, clearly waiting for an explanation. What is this that's so valuable? I ran over and picked it up, explaining in detail. Big brother, in the city, this is a water rat. Its scientific name is muskrat. In Beijiang, we call it a water mink. Its pelt is valuable for coats. Intact pelt at the trading post and fetch at least $5. Hearing that one tiny pelt could sell for $5. Jiangguo and Dao Shuang's eyes lit up. You see, working all month in the country, burning war points might not net that much cash. Beijiang is vast and sparse. Finding food isn't hard, but earning cash is very difficult. I remember last year at the production team, when dividends were shared, half the village was in debt, owing the production team instead. Thinking of the profit, Jiangguo immediately urged Dao Shuang. Tao Dao Zhuang, shove the net down, see if there are any more down there. Hurry up, Dao Zhuang recovered and bent down. He searched under the ice hole. The third net caught 7 or 8 carp, about 20 kilos of fresh fish in total. But in the end, no sign of a second muskrat. If I'd caught this much before, I'd have been thrilled to go drinking. But now, looking at this pile of fish, it's no longer that appealing. Big brother became impatient and patted Trang's shoulder. Trang, come warm up by the fire. Let me try it at the other hole. That 5 yuan muskrat had completely sparked his greed and excitement. The excitement reached its peak. Trang, come warm up by the fire. Let me try at the other hole. He indeed ran to the other hole. Frantically, he hauled up over 10 large fish. But still, no sign of another muskrat. He ran to the other hole. Acting frantic, he hauled up over 10 large fish. But still, no sign of another muskrat. Seeing them let down, I laughed. Brother, Trang, don't rush. They hibernate in mud in winter. In spring, when it warms up, they'll come ashore to feed. Then, trapping them will be easy. King Kwok felt regretful, but knew he had to wait. They kept fishing together until the sun began to set. Sunset red in the hazy ice. We packed up to head back. Before leaving, I used a shovel to fill the ice holes with snow. Dai Shuang scratched his head. Hey, Brother Long, in 2 days, are we drilling the ore? If we leave them open, water will overflow and form thick ice. It'll be a pain to re-drill. I said, you're wrong. We cover it with loose snow. Snow insulates it. I said, you're wrong. We cover it with loose snow. Snow insulates it. When we drill then, just shove the snow aside. And the thin ice film won't be very thick. One tap and it breaks. Dai Shuang slapped his thigh. That makes sense, Brother Long. Before the sun fully set, we carried the fish to the vase. In the kitchen, MS, Lian used the big carp to cook a fragrant sour soup. We were freezing from the cold. But entering the house, the aroma hit us. We instinctively drank a bowl of hot soup. The sweet fish melted, instantly warming us up. But right after finishing his fish soup, Dai Shuang stood up hesitantly. King Kwok, Wong, I'm heading home now. My clothes are soaked, I need to dry them. If I'm late, the old man will scold me. Dai Trang said honestly. I looked at him and said, it's fine, take those fish home to eat. When your dad sees the big fish, he'll be happy and won't scold you. Wait for your coat to dry before you go. Dai Trang nodded. I'm heading to the mountains early. If you want me to go, remember to call me. After some convincing, I made Dai Trang sit down to have some hot fish soup to warm up. Then I tied the fish for him to carry home. Originally, the 5 yuan muskrat was actually caught by Dai Trang, pulling the net himself. So, by right, letting him sell it for money was only fair, but at the lake, Dai Trang firmly refused. His reasoning was clear. The net belongs to the vest, and V Long found the spot. He only helped a little, so being shared. The big fish for New Year was already a huge favor. He wouldn't take our hard-earned money. Seeing his persistence, I planned to divide the fish into 3 equal portions, giving him 1. It was over 10 kilos of meat. But Dai Trang refused, only picking up a reed to string 5 medium-sized fish before heading home. Big brother, V King Kwok watched Dai Trang walk away. Behind the gate, he said move. That Dai Trang guy is quite sensible. He's not as stupid as people say. Of course, I know. I nodded. Dai Trang isn't stupid. He's just too honest and bullied by his family. Everyone thinks he's just a fool. Even his own family treats him like garbage. At the table, little Queen was slurping fish soup. Her eyes narrowed with joy. Looking content. Just the other morning, they didn't even have lard. One day and night later, they had sparrow, stew, and wild bird. Now there's a big pot of fish soup to eat. To her, this current life is pure heaven. Little Kwong also clutched his bowl. He picked up white fish meat, stuffed it in, and chewed away. He wiped his nose, stealing glances at me. The boy was thinking. Once he was full, he'd ask his uncle to let him tag along to go ice fishing tomorrow. I wiped my mouth and took the fish, then told him. King Kwok frowned at the basket. Don't worry, I've planned it. This is enough. These 2 fat carps, about twok each, is perfect. Besides, Captain Huayu lent the horse carriage, not just because he wanted my fish. I'm asking for work favor, no need for big gifts to avoid awkwardness. Giving 2 fish is just right. If I overdo it and give too many, he'll expect it next time I borrow it. If I can't find big fish then, what then? When I was a factory worker, I used to spend money recklessly, never considering these complex social interactions. But in my past life, after my brother died, the family fell apart. My sister-in-law blamed and kicked me out. I lived aimlessly, relying on a widow, experiencing the bitterness of life, suffering many humiliations. Finally, I saw people for who they really are. Now that I've been reborn, with this peaceful family life, I must value and cherish it. Wild winter carp these days, all have golden scales and full bellies, looking delicious already. I picked 2 3 ones and tied them up. Within 10 steps of leaving, I ran into that jerk Mao at the corner. Seeing my large string of fish, Mao's eyes lit up. He forgot our argument this morning and approached me with a thick-skinned grin. Hey, Xiaolong, you caught such great fish in the ice. Impressive. Come on, as friends, give me one for my drinks. Annoyed by the thick-skinned jerk, I couldn't help but sneer. I shoved his arm off my shoulder and said coldly, Tang, I'm busy right now. No time for nonsense with your kind. Guru Mao, his hand pushed away, looked awkward. He pulled back his hand, tucked it in his sleeve for warmth, and forced a fake smile. Why such a bad temper lately? It's a joke, don't be so tense. Hey, I just heard some hot news. The Jian's Uptown just bought a TV. It's fancy, everyone's flocking there. I came all this way to invite you. He spoke of an invitation, but his greedy eyes kept glancing sideways at the fish, squirming in my hands. I waved him off with disdain. I'm busy. Go watch TV by yourself. I brushed past Mao and headed straight to the team leader's house, Su Chengjun. Living my life again, I made up my mind. Toxic, meaningless relationships, like these drinking buddies, should be cut off immediately. No more hesitation, it only ruins my life. Arriving at the Zhu family's gate, seeing inside a faint oil lamp flickering, I knocked knock. At the Zhu family's gate, I saw Su Chengjun's house, still dimly lit. I reached out and knocked. The door creaked open. Opening the door was Su Chengjun's youngest son, named Su Minghua. The crew cup boy looked at me, his eyes fixed on a huge fish. Then he quickly called out inside. Dad, come look at this. Xiaolong, Wei King's friend, is here to see you. He even brought 2 huge fish. Su Chengjun was relaxing, lying on his heated brick bed, listening to the radio. In these hard economic times, a radio was considered a luxury for the cotter class. But hearing his son say, someone brought fresh fish, he jumped up instantly, slipped on slippers and got up. Seeing me arrive, Su Chengjun greeted me warmly. Oh, Xiaolong, you're here? Welcome, a visit is enough. Why bring fish as a gift? I heard the rumors. You've left your job at the Wucheng food factory? I put the fish in a basin, scratched my head and replied, Yes, Captain Zhu. My skills are limited. I'm a farmer with little schooling, and I lack knowledge. When given technical tasks, I can't handle it. I mess things up, so I'm resigning, going back home to farm. Here's a pair of wild carp. I spent all noon breaking ice to catch them at the lake. They're good, so I brought 2 for your family to enjoy. Hua's wife, Ma Hongmei, was sewing under the light. She ran out for the fresh fish. Seeing the 2 plump carp, she beamed with joy. Heavens, these are huge. My goodness, these are big. Fishing in this freezing cold. It must have been hard. It's kind of you to remember us. So thoughtful. I handed the fish to her and sat on the heated bed, speaking seriously to Hua. Captain, I came today, besides the fish, to discuss something with you. Captain, I came today, besides the fish, to discuss something with you. Hua Chengjun put out his cigarette, his face becoming authoritative. Just tell me what's wrong. Within the rules, where possible, I'll try to help you out. I nodded and got to the point. Captain, you know my brother's situation. Now I've suddenly lost my job. Back home, the family has grown, and the charcoal my brother made is no longer enough. The kids shiver at night, it's pitiful. So I'd like to borrow the team's horse cart tomorrow to collect firewood for winter. Hearing this, Hua Qingjun shook his head hesitantly. I'm afraid that's not good, Xiao Long. You haven't worked here yet, and don't know the trails, not to mention finding firewood. The terrain is very complex. Snowy mountain roads are slick and quite difficult. If you get lost alone, or have an accident and can't return, how could I explain it to Jiang Duo? I smiled to reassure him. Don't worry, I can handle it. I have an old friend, a close one, from Qingshui who knows the area. We'll go together. Also, we won't go deep into the mountains. Just staying nearby to collect dry branches and scrap wood from the farm at the forest's edge. Hua Qingjun tapped his fingers. Seeing my determination, he cleared his throat and said, If you've planned it out, then I won't stop you. Personal business is one thing, but rules must still be followed. Our production team only has these few pack horses in this slack winter, but if you use the team cart privately, you must pay in work points. I asked, how many work points per day? I'd already expected some kind of hidden cost, so I wasn't surprised. Hua Qingquan saw I wasn't surprised or upset and privately thought better of my sensibility. He thought I brought fish to butter him up, expecting me to haggle hard when asked for points in cash. One pack horse is 1.6 yuan. But if you use the wagon, I'll be flexible and not charge for wear and tear. Hua Qingquan asked, so, do you agree? I reached into my inner pocket and put 1.6 yuan on the table. Fine, that's a fair price. I'll pay in advance. I'll go home and get ready now. Leaving the captain's house, I took a large crushing cart and ran to the team stables. The stables are where the team keeps the horses and oxen. An old man looks after them, feeding and cleaning them. His name is Luo. Everyone calls him Old Luo. He saw me bring fish at night, and also the permit paper with the captain's red stamp. Zhu Qingjun approved the order. Old Luo grinned, showing yellow teeth. He took the fish and rubbed his hands, promising to bring the horse tomorrow. Pick the strongest horse in the stable for me. Meanwhile, Dao Zhuang slipped through the gate, returning home happily. Starving, he hurried to the kitchen for food. But he found the pot was empty. Inside, no one had saved any rice for him. His joy vanished instantly, his heart turning cold as ice. He sadly put the 5 fresh fish into a basket in the kitchen. Facing the inner room, he called out, Dad, why didn't you save any rice for me tonight? Old Dao Zhenshi was smoking on the heated bed. Hearing his youngest son, he took his copper pipe and tapped the bed frame. Shaking the ash, he snapped, You came back way too late. It was already dark and I didn't see you anywhere. Your nephew, Mao Dan, came over this afternoon, saying he was starving. So I gave him your rice to eat instead. If you're hungry, there are raw potatoes in the kitchen. Roast them in the stove yourself. Why bother with all that cooking? Dao Qin Thiet said in an arrogant voice. His tone was indifferent and cold, as if suffering from hunger was something Dai Treng must endure. Hearing this, Dai Treng bowed his head, neither surprised nor hurt. He felt no sense of injustice. His older brother, Dao Dai Dong, had long ago moved out to marry. They had a son named Mao Dan. Little Mao Dan was the darling, the treasure of the Dao family. Growing up, because of his rough appearance and his quiet nature, his family always called him a fool and useless. His own father, brother, and his cunning sister-in-law all openly despised him. After years of constant verbal abuse, Dai Trang had grown used to it, silently accepting his lowly lot. But today at the V family home, he was treated like a guest. Like a real human being. He was served fragrant chicken and hot fish soup in the afternoon. He had caught a big haul of fish himself. Feeling like a useful man. Someone with value, not a waste. A spark of indignation flared up. And he called out loudly, with a rare sense of pride. Dad, I caught some fish from the ice and brought them home today. I want to cook them for a full meal. Old Dao Keen Thiet was smoking, hearing about his foolish son. Bringing fresh fish back made him stare in shock, totally stunned. He sat up from the clay bed and shouted, "What, you really caught fish and brought them home? Where is it? Bring it here so I can see for myself." Hearing his father, Dai Shuang straightened up, carrying the fresh fish from the kitchen, proudly showing them off. "Oh wow. These fish are big and fresh. Where did you catch them?" Jan Thai stared at the fish and swallowed hard. All right. Take them to your brother's house tomorrow morning. Our family is dirt poor lately. Not a drop of oil left. Cooking fish would just waste what oil we have. Take it to your sister-in-law to make some fish soup. Sipping the broth is fine. Save the meat for Mao Dan. Seeing Dai Shuang stand there, clutching the fish and not moving, Jan Thai flew into a rage. He threw the blanket, jumped to the floor, grabbing his copper pipe, hitting Dai Shuang's head with a hard blow. Scolding, "Your mother's gone. Once I'm dead and gone, if you're still this stupid, won't you still be a moocher? Relying on your brother? You have no sense to please your brother and his wife. When I pass away, not even a dog's leftovers will be left for you to eat." But today, for the first time, Dao Shuang's stubbornness flared up. He bit his lip, determined to talk back. Clutching the fish, refusing to let go. "I'm not taking them. I've done back-breaking labor. All winter long. My back is bent, my nails torn, yet I've never eaten my fill. Even my dinner was stolen by Mao Dan. Working with Wei Long today. I was treated well. I ate my fill and even had chicken. I brought this fish home. I'll cook it, I'm not sharing. If you pity them, earn it yourself. And give it to them." Venting his pent-up anger, Dao Shuang's eyes turned red. He slammed the fish down, angrily pulled the door, and ran out into the snow. Jan Thai stood frozen, his pipe hanging mid-air. His old face was dazed, lost as to what happened. Once his son was gone, he threw his pipe down, cursing, "That damn brat. Think you're a man now? Daring to talk back and ignore me. You're a rebel, you beast." Cursing done, he saw the fresh fish at his feet. He sighed, bending his hunched back to pick up each fish, and stealthily hid them in the cupboard. He mumbled to himself, "When his son, Dai Dong, visits tomorrow, he'll give him the 3 biggest ones to take home to his wife." Late at night, as I trudged back from the stable, I saw someone at my gate. A tall, dark figure lingering there. I grew alert. Gripping the knife in my pocket, I shouted, "Who's lurking there?" The shadow froze, then Dai Trang's choked voice answered, "Brother Long, it's me, Dai Trang." Recognizing his voice, I walked closer and asked, "Dai Trang, it's late and freezing cold. What are you doing out here? You have to work early tomorrow. Why aren't you in bed?" Under the moonlight, Dai Trang looked down. Scuffing his boots in the snow, he stammered, "I'm afraid I'll oversleep. So I came to stay on your porch, so that early tomorrow, I can just go with you." His behavior was a bit odd. I guessed he'd fought with his father. But since he came to ask for help, in this freezing cold, I couldn't turn him away. It's freezing out here. I got a carriage, come inside. Let's rest on the straw beds. We'll set off early at dawn. To be on time. I was sympathetic and didn't pry about his family. He sniffled with gratitude and silently followed me in. After quietly returning home, Wei Jiangyue was mending nets. When I got the carriage, he nodded and gave advice.